Okay, so this will be part 5 of our snack shack or bar shed drawing. Now, we ran into a little bit of an issue where we were thinking that this size just isn't quite big enough. So we're going to bump the front wall out a foot. So in order to do that, we are going to go and, well, I think the first thing that we need to do is adjust the floor. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make some of these composite parts invisible. So I got to find the right ones. Basically, I want to make the walls invisible so we get them out of our way to start with. There we go. Make these all disappear by selecting our composite parts and clicking on the little eyeball. And so now those have disappeared. Now, we need to look at, I'm going to go to a top view here. We're going to have to remove some of these, but I'm going to go and find the sketch where I made the floor, which was actually sketch 1. So I'm going to go to sketch 1, double click it. Is that the right one? That does not look like. Was it? Is it 3? You may be right. Let's see. Sketch 3. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go with sketch 3 here, and I'm going to take and I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to go and draw a rectangle. So I'm going to go with a corner rectangle. I'm going to attach it here, drag it down, and I'm going to attach it to the outside here. So notice the depth of it is still not defined. Then I'm going to go to my dimension tool, and I'm going to make it a foot, because instead of 4x8, we're going to make it 5x8. So we're going to go 12 inches, 12, enter. Okay, and I'm looking at this. I can already tell it's going to be way too close to this board, so I'm going to, actually I got to get out of the dimension tool. Escape dimension. Now I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit delete. Now I'm going to go with my green check, and that gives us something looking like that. Now I'm going to go back up to the extrusion. Was it extrude 1? Yeah. So actually first I got to turn sketch 3 back on. So here, show sketch 3. We're going to turn sketch 3 back on so we can see that. I'm going to go back to extrude 1, and I am going to click, oh, you know what? Cancel that. I'm going to have to make a second extrusion. The only reason I'm going to have to do that is because if I were to just add it to the existing extrusion, it would make this as one piece, and we want this to be 2 distinct pieces of wood. So we're going to go up here to extrude. I'm going to select that, and good, it stayed as new. If it might have wanted to default to add, if it selected add, it would have added it and made it part of the same piece here. We don't want that, so it's going to make sure that we keep it on new, and we're going to make it 3/4 of an inch, so 0.75, and click off of that. Make sure it still says new, which it does. Green check. So now we've got our floor that comes out an extra foot, so we have a 5x8 area inside. So we're going to do that. Now the next part of the problem is see, we've got extrude 2 way down here. We need to slide that up because some of our other things are based on this, and so it needs to be above the the drawings that come above the floor. So we're going to come here and drop it right down underneath extrude 1, pull it up there, and then I'm going to turn off sketch 3 again and hide that so that doesn't clutter up our view. All right, so the next thing we've got to do is figure out where all of our walls are going to go. We're going to have to move our walls, basically.
Apologies for interrupting again.
Okay, so we're going to go and I'm going to figure out, let's see, we've got our flooring, our floor frame, extrude 1, extrude 2, our flooring. What was sketch 4? Oh, and I see right here my extrude 2 didn't go all the way to the edge, so I'm going to come back up here to extrude 2, double click on it. I got to turn the sketch back on momentarily, and I got to click this little piece over there, green check. Now I've got a floor that goes all the way across, so I'm good to go there. All right. Here's where it gets tricky. I have to figure out which walls I put in first, so I guess what I'm going to do is start turning composite parts back on and look and see what they're drawn off of. So everything's turned back on. I'm going to flip this around. I think I drew on this side beam 6, so sketch 4. Yeah, so this would have been my first one. So I'm going to open up that sketch. Yeah, see, I went from that corner to that corner. So here, what I'm going to want to do is delete this constraint that I have right here. So if I hover over it, highlight it, I see this constraint, which is the coincident tool that constrained it to that point. So I'm going to go and hover over there, click on that to highlight that constraint, hit the delete key, and that takes it away. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and hit the coincident tool again. I'm going to pick the point of the end of there, and then I'm going to, of my line, and pick this point there. And then I'm going to go green check, and let's see what this does. Hopefully this extends our wall. See, it extended our wall. And we still have this 2x4 centered. We are going to have to mess with that, but let's get all of our framing out first. So our end walls are good. Now I just have to move this wall. Unfortunately, I think I mirrored it. Okay, I did that. So sketch 7, beam, sketch 8. All right, that's good. Those are our beams. Sketch 9 was the top plate. We're good. I made a composite part. All right, plane 1. So I need to change where plane 1 is to do that. Now we bumped our wall out 6 inches or 12 inches, so I'm going to need to move this plane over 6 inches. So this should be 30 inches will be my halfway point. So I'm going to make that 30. Because remember, I just mirrored this back wall on this plane, and I had it at the halfway point, which was 24 inches. So if I change it to 30 inches, now that bumps that wall forward. So green check, now that wall is forward, and we are good to go on that. I believe that should be sitting right on the edge. Yeah, see, that's sitting now right on the edge of that new board. So we're good to go there. Now let's see. I think I left a sketch on that I just want to turn off because I'm seeing something down there. I think I left sketch 3 on. Yeah, I'm going to turn sketch 3 off just because it's annoying me. Okay, now here's our problem is figuring out, if we look at this from the side, figuring out where we want these to be. Now this is too far of a spacing. Before we had them on 24-inch centers. So I think we're going to have to bump this back to 16-inch spacings like we would if it was a standard construction. So, and the reason that's really important is because the edge of the sheathing has to be on a piece. So we're going to have a stud centered on this mark right here on this 48-inch mark. Otherwise, there'll be nothing to nail your sheathing into. So we are going to go and let's see here. Where is this one? This is beam 8. So yeah, sketch 5. So we're going to take and we're going to modify sketch 5. So I'm going to double click on that. Then I am going to, how did I constrain this? Oh, I constrained it on the center point. So I'm going to click on that center point constraint, and then I'm going to hit delete. And now see, this turns blue. And so this I want to be 16 inches from the outside. So I'm going to do a dimension tool here to here. make that, see now it's 30 inches. We don't want 30 inches, so we're going to go 16, enter. And ooh, this is going to make us put a couple more in there. But I'm going to make a linear pattern right now, put 2 more in here at 16 inches. So we're going to go up here to linear pattern. I'm going to click on this. This is the piece we're going to move over. Make that 16. And so it should drop one. See, I got one here at 16 inches, and I got one right on that 48-inch mark. So our sheathing will go to that point, and we'll be good. So I'm going to go green check. And then I need to turn on, what sketch was that? Sketch 5. Turn sketch 5 on again so we can see that. Beam 1, beam 8. So we're going to need to turn, look at beam 8, and I'm just going to add this stud and add this stud and make sure that they're lined up right, which they are, which they should be aligned because we already did that before. So we're going to go green check, and so now we have our walls modified, this wall. And so now I'm going to come down and what is composite part 1? I got to figure out which composite part I'm looking at. 1, 2, 3. So I got to find composite part 3 where I made that, which is right here. I'm going to double click. Apparently that's the wrong one. Let's find composite part 2. That's it. And so I'm going to add this piece, and I'm going to add this piece to it. I'm going to go green check, and since I mirrored the composite part, I now have, if you look at this, I now have the framing adjusted. So now we have effectively changed the size of the shed from a 4x8 to a from a 4x8 to a 5x8 opening area. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to add the top plates on here. So we're going to go to a top view, and we are going to, we got plenty of time. So we're going to go to a top view, and excuse me, my battery's running low on my microphone here. Let me plug it in. Okay, so we're going to go to a top view, and I'm going to do a sketch. Actually, first I'm going to turn that sketch off that we were looking at here, sketch 5. I'm going to turn that off so I'm not seeing the dots from that. So we're going to go top view, we're going to go sketch, and we are going to sketch just on the surface of any of these plates. And so we're going to do a line, and you know what? I could do it on the front. It won't make a difference in terms of the construction, but we started drawing from the front, so I'm just going to stay consistent. I mean, start drawing from the back, so I'm going to stay consistent and do the same thing here. And then I'm going to attach that line to both of the corners, so from corner to corner. And then I am going to go green check. And so now I've got my line right here. I'm going to go beam tool, and I'm still set up on the timber, lumber, 2x4, all that. So I'm going to click that piece. I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to rotate it that way. And yep, I need to pull it up as well. So I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to hit the green check again. And so now, as soon as it generates, it renders it. Now I have that top plate. And let's see, my computer's being super laggy here. But if you look at this, this top plate is the one that ties the walls together. So we got this wall, which we can build on the ground and then stand up there. This wall, which we build on the ground, stand up there. And then this plate here ties them together. All right, so let's go back to a top view again. And I got to find that plane that I made there, that plane 1. I'm going to go ahead and turn plane 1 on again so we can see it. And I'm going to mirror that top plate over to the front. So we're going to go and entities to mirror. We click the top plate, then the mirror plane. We're going to click plane 1, and we're going to hit a green check. And now we have our top plate on the front. We also need a plate that's going to go here on the side. So we are going to go and go back to sketch again. And we're going to sketch on this plate there. And we're going to just go make our, we're going to select the line tool, sorry. We are going to go and go from that corner point of that top plate to the corner plate of that top plate. Get out the line tool, green check, beam tool. Once again, we're making a 2x4, so we click on that line, pull it in. Let's rotate around a bit. I gotta zoom out a bit here. And we got to pull it up too. You see it's kind of down, overlapping the one below it, centered on that line. So we pull it up and we hit the green check, and now we've got that. And we're going to mirror it. So we're going to click mirror, entities to mirror. We're going to click on that top plate we just did. Then we're going to click mirror plane, and I'm going to come over and use the, let me look back, make sure I'm doing the right one. Front. We're using the front. Really? Yeah. We're using the front plane. And there we go. Green check. And so now, if you look, we have top plate on the sides as well. So now we essentially have the basic framing done, the basic studs, the walls. So now we need to draw in our opening. So I'm going to turn off this plane here because we don't need to see that. So I'm going to turn off the plane. So now we got to decide what our bar opening is going to be. We need to figure out how high we want it. So we're going to look at it from the front, which would be our left view. And we are going to go and figure how much room do we want to leave. Maybe 6 to 8 inches, probably 8 inches in from the side is about where we're probably going to go. So we're going to go and do sketch. We're going to do it on the face of any one of these beams. So we're going to go from right here. So it's the face of mirror 3 is what I selected. And then I'm going to take a line tool and I'm going to just make a line that goes across. Make sure that it's lit up where you got the yellow and the blue so that it's horizontal. I'm going to get out of the line there. Okay, so now we need to make our definitions here. So we're going to go to our dimension tool, and we're going to click from there to the top of the floor, and we decide we're going to make that 42 inches. So let's make that 42, enter. So now we have our line defined from the top. Now we got to go from the end to the outside. Ooh, and that's at, right now it's at 12. So if we took a foot off on each side, then we'd be at 6. So I don't know, 6 foot. But we don't want to go too short. Let's see what it looks like if we make it 8 inches. So if we go, whoops, not what I want to do. 8, enter. I think that that's doable to make it 8 inches from the side. All right, so we'll do that, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. Make that 8 inches, 8, enter. And we are going to go and do our green check. Okay, back up to our beam tool. And we are going to select that piece. Now, if you see, it puts it horizontally, so it's the wrong orientation. So we're going to need to go and flip it 90 degrees. So 90, enter, and then we're going to need to pull it back in. And in this case, since we put in the dimension that we wanted at the top, we're going to need to pull it down. So we pull it down. And if I turn around and look, yeah, it's flush with the wall. We're going to go and do green check there. And I'm going to need a trim. Actually, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to go back into that tool. I think I can do trim. Parts to trim to. Now it's going to trim this piece if I do that. How am I going to do this? All right, we're going to come back to that in a bit. So we're just going to, for now, green check. So we're out of that, and we're going to cut the wall out there in a bit. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave it. Okay, and then we got to figure out how high we want to make it. Figure it's got to be above eye level of the average person. Most doors are a standard door is 7 feet, I believe. Standard door in a house. So we got 8-foot walls, so we'll make our next line at 7 feet. So we're going to go sketch again. We're going to click on the face of one of the beams, and we're going to make a line. Zoom out. Let me get a view right here. There we go. Go with the line tool again. I'm going to come down and light up the edge there, so that makes it so that the end will be lined up with there. I'm going to click, I'm going to come across, I'm going to drop down and light up the end of that beam as well. And I'm going to come back up till I have that yellow dotted line going down to the end, and it's blue and yellow going across. Click, and I'm going to escape my line tool. Then I need to give a dimension from the bottom. So I'm going to take my dimension tool, click the line, click the bottom of the floor, and let's see, 12 is 84 inches. And there we go. So that'll be 7 feet up. Green check. And I'm going to do, once again, a beam tool. We got our 2x4 lumber. We're going to have to, let's look at it from an isometric view so we can see what we're looking at. Make it 90 degrees. So it flips that on its side, pull it in, and pull it down. And it didn't go in, did it? Yeah, it did. All right, we're good. Okay. Green check. Let's go back to the front view again. So now we got to frame our sides here. So we're going to have to put in a cripple, as they call it, which is the stud that supports our, actually, as I think about this, that's not going to work. We're going to need to put a header in there. So we're actually going to undo. We're going to go back into this beam tool here. We're going to undo our rotation. So we're going to go back to 0 degrees. Then we're going to select our lumber and make it 4x8. And let's turn around and look at it this way. And I'm going to pull it back in, but leave it on top. And green check. So now we got a 4x8 up there. We got a 4x8 up there. So we're going to go back to our sketch again. And anything on the surface, we're going to go on the surface of our countertop there. And we are going to draw a line that goes from the bottom corner of that stud down to our sill plate. Make sure you have it lit up, the blue and yellow, so that you know that it is plumb. Going to get out of the line tool. Then we're going to go and do another line, and we're out of time.